It's 9 p.m. Do you know where your key fob is?
Hey there, Nate Benson here, and welcome to this dedicatory program we call On the Agenda. This week, Rainy Day Fund raided after a last-minute request from the city controller, plus a new capital budget proposal in the Queen City could mean big things for the future, or could it mean more legal trouble? Plus, the Seneca Nation calls on the state to come back to the negotiating table for a new compact deal. And the farewell tour of the Boulevard Mall has begun. All right, let's kick the tires and light the fires. On the Agenda starts right now. Now you might be asking yourself, Nate, why do you cover City Hall and government so much? Well, it's the closest thing to pro wrestling I can do without actually being a pro wrestler. Wrestling is full of incredible storylines that pull you in and suspend your disbelief. And this week's storyline inside City Hall was the Rainy Day Fund and a request by the city controller to move $6.8 million in order to wipe out a variance from last fiscal year.
I feel like I'm voting for this under duress.
But at some point, we have to put our foot down.
But I think it's important to go on the record and let people know that this is alarming. This is concerning to us.
A noticeably frustrated Common Council Tuesday afternoon as they were forced at the last minute to vote on a request from the city controller to shift $6.8 million from the Rainy Day Fund to cover a deficit from the 2024-25 fiscal year.
So essentially, instead of posting an overdraft in our checking, we used our savings to cover the negative balance of the overdraft.
I know you hate having to react to emergencies like this. I imagine you're frustrated.
Well, my go-to statement would be your failure to plan is not my emergency, but apparently this time it definitely is. Not thrilled to tap into this fund, but having read the charter and it looks like we've been failing for a little bit of time. We did not replenish our assigned fund balance, which was supposed to have been refilled by 2 years after being spent, and now we're forced to do this because of a lack of foresight.
If the council did not approve the move, the city's bond rating could have been negatively impacted. It's the latest chapter in an ongoing saga between City Hall lawmakers and the controller's office. One of the points of contention for council members is that the controller filed the formal request to shift the funds on November 11th, Veterans Day, when City Hall was closed. If I understood you correctly during the meeting, the controller should have given the council much more notice about this request, but didn't. Can you kind of clarify that?
Precisely. So in the letter from the controller, it states that she was to notify the Common Council within 120 days of our financials. And then when we asked in committee and our legal counsel today, they told me that they needed the money yesterday. So you can't file a letter within a cycle of 2 weeks and give a deliberating body absolutely no time to scrutinize, especially when the previous item that was considered was deficient. It wasn't per the code. It didn't give any specifics. It gave generalities, and it came up with council leadership and myself and corporation counsel to scrutinize the charter, to scrutinize the ask before us to make sure that it conforms to the code, because I certainly don't want the council to deliberate on anything where the item is deficient and not up to the standards to be deliberated on by the Buffalo Common Council.
And since the controller nor anyone from her office was at the council meeting on Wednesday to discuss the matter, I wandered on down to her office to see if she was there and could talk about it.
She is in a meeting right now. She's not here.
She can be back at all or no?
I'm not sure if she's scheduled.
Okay, thanks. The controller is not here. The clerk was not aware of her personal schedule for the day, and she was unavailable for comment.
What time is it?
It's 3:15 on a Wednesday. How can the council, how can the administration, how can the controller's office find a way to not be always reacting at the last moment for some of these things? Because to the public, it just makes it feel like dysfunction.
Well, it is dysfunction. Let's be clear about that. When you put together a budget, and it is a proposal, right? It's not something that's complete, but it wasn't a realistic proposal in that just in the line alone for legal settlements, you only put $4 million. We already knew there were several lawsuits that were pending, and we know that there are some that are pending now. We don't know what those are going to be, but you certainly know it's going to be more than $4 million just based on the nature of the incidents that occurred.
Despite their frustration, the council voted and approved the move of the funds, with Councilmember Rashid N.C. Wyatt being the only vote in the negative.
we're still in a messed up situation as far as our finances, and it's been that way over the last several years. And I don't know why our bond rating hasn't been dramatically affected, because we all saw it. And I guess I understand it's because we're inside baseball, and we understand the inner workings and some of the problems, and maybe those who are reviewing may not. You would think that they would. But I think that, again, as I referenced to BFSA, I don't know how much help they've been to us. They were supposed to help us through this process. And for us to get to this point that we're doing our financials and then come up, we have to have $14 million is just totally unacceptable. And I don't care how you slice it. We've been given bad advice all the way through.
Speaking of money, Acting Mayor Chris Scanlon has unveiled a new capital budget for 2026. It once again calls on significant borrowing requests that go beyond the recommended cap set forth by the Comptroller. Now, you may remember the City Comptroller refused to go to the bond market in 2025 because the capital budget exceeded her cap limit. That led to a court battle. Here's a breakdown of the budget plan and reaction from lawmakers. In what is starting to feel like Groundhog's Day for TV's Nate Benson, I am once again reporting on the capital budget for the city of Buffalo. Only this time it's for 2026. Acting Mayor Scanlon has submitted his capital budget to the Common Council, and it comes in at a weight of $94 million. Once again, the city is requesting more than $50 million on behalf of Buffalo Public Schools because the state legislature did not reauthorize the Joint Schools Construction Board, so the city needs to act as the bonding agent for the district. The city proposals in the budget total $38.4 million. It includes new snowplows, fire and police apparatus, including a new armored vehicle, a new fence for the Buffalo Zoo, and more. But the proposed budget also exceeds the recommended bond cap set forth by Comptroller Barbara Miller-Williams. The acting mayor proposed a similar budget last year, and it was approved by the Common Council, but it ultimately led to a legal battle that is still playing out. Two on your side caught up with Council Majority Leader Leah Halton Pope for her initial reaction to the proposed budget.
I will say that the initial proposals that were given, there were some serious concerns because council members always present an entire list of projects that we'd like to see every single district. And I will acknowledge the fact that the mayor actually heard us and went back, took the recommendations from CPC and went back and added recommendations from council members.
As for whether or not it's a good idea to try and borrow beyond the recommended cap once again,
I cannot say that it's wise or unwise. I won't comment on that. It is something to be strongly considered, especially right now when we're considering dipping into the rainy day fund. I think holding off on actually going to market on these items until we know whether or not we can afford it is really important.
Now, acting Mayor Scanlon won't be the mayor to see this budget proposal through, as Mayor-elect Ryan will take the oath at the beginning of the year. So what does the incoming mayor think of this? In a statement, his office said, quote, "The public works and financial experts on Mayor-elect Ryan's transition team are reviewing the plan. At first glance, the plan makes needed investments in the city's aging vehicle fleet, which is a critical area identified by the transition team." Next on the agenda, the Seneca Nation lays out what it wants from New York State in a new gaming compact deal, and the end of the Boulevard Mall is in sight. But first, a look at weekend weather. Welcome back. The Seneca Nation continues to call on Governor Hochul to resume negotiations for a new gaming compact. The two sides have essentially been at a standstill with this since the current nation president, J.C. Seneca, was sworn in last November. During a flag-raising ceremony in Niagara Square recently, we talked with President Seneca about negotiations and what the nation is looking for in a new compact deal.
It's been very slow. We've had some meetings. They're calling them negotiations, but it really hasn't gotten to a point of negotiation in my view. I think we really need to get to the table for a couple days in a row, 3 days. I even proposed a week at a time. I'm prepared to go wherever, whenever, to be at the table with the governor, to be able to get some work done and to resolve this issue and to talk about the difficult decisions that need to be made. And, I just hope that the executive chamber kind of changes their direction in regards to dealing with us, because we're going nowhere fast right now.
I guess what happens if it continues like this? I mean, is there anything you do to maybe pique the interest in it?
Well, as I mentioned at our Western New York delegation last week, we're going to start engaging with legislature in regards to getting them involved, making sure they understand the issues, the struggles that we're having, and see what help they can provide in regards to moving this forward. And hopefully get them to help us gain some resolve to this.
I guess what are some of the things you're looking for the state? I mean, other than just negotiations, but what are some of the things that you're looking for from them?
Well, I think it's the state has really had a great deal over the last 20 plus years in this compact. They were able to get us into a compact and then quickly encroach within our exclusivity zone, if they want to call that, with their racinos and the introduction of the VLT machines. They are a strong competition for our casinos and really have been a detriment in regards to us gaining the most revenue that we could do through our gaming facilities. And so that's an issue, and that has to be addressed. And, I think along with that is certainly one thing that I proposed, that our team has proposed, is iGaming. iGaming right now is all around the state of New York. It's in Canada. And again, New York State's late to the dance in regards to working on that. And it's only going to be a detriment to gaming facilities within the state, here at the Seneca Nation, and within the state of New York. And so we're looking at trying to put in place protective measures in regards to trying to avoid major impact in regards to iGaming as it grows and gets more popular around us and throughout the country.
Now, the governor's office sent us a lengthy statement, which you can find right now on WGRZ.com. But in part, a spokesperson said, quote, "The governor is committed to doing what is best on behalf of the state and all of Western New York, and our administration continues to act in good faith toward the Seneca Nation of Indians as we work toward an agreement on the gaming compact that is fair and serves the interests of all parties." Earlier this week, the Amherst Town Board voted to move forward with eminent domain proceedings with the Boulevard Mall. It's a bit of a complicated real estate deal that involves Douglas Jamal, Benderson Development, and the town of Amherst. But the move marks the latest step in a plan that has been in the works since 2018. Senior development reporter Nate Benson filed this story for us from Amherst.
First and foremost, we're waiting for Benderson and Jamal to close.
It's a complex deal with a lot of ins and a lot of outs. Jamal continues his withdrawal from Western New York as the deal to sell the mall to Benderson Development is expected to close before the end of the year.
Once that closes, then the town will move forward with an eminent domain action on the entirety of the mall.
So why is the town going to pursue it through eminent domain?
The eminent domain action basically scours the earth in terms of old leases and parking rights and build rights and all of those things that are out there that make it really an inhibition. I mean, these developers have not been able to move forward with because of all of those items.
Eminent domain of the property by the town will essentially void all of that.
Some of the property will be available to the town, and we'll purchase and then go to an RFP process for new housing. Moving forward, there will be some housing components, about 13 acres of housing, and Benderson will use the rest of the facility for commercial and all sorts of other activities.
Has it been frustrating? I know this has been a project for so long in the making, and then there was ownership changes. Jamal came in as a white knight for so many properties. Has it been frustrating that this has not moved faster?
No, I mean it moved at the speed it could move. At the end of the day, you had multiple ownership interests. So, the town had an eminent domain capacity, but we weren't looking to spend town money on redevelopment. So we had to kind of be party to all the conversation and wait for the right opportunities to present themselves. I'm excited about where it's heading, and I'm just grateful that we were able to get it done.
The cost to the taxpayers, according to outgoing Supervisor Brian Culpa, nothing. Benderson is paying the town $4 million, which should cover the eminent domain costs for the JCPenney building and Firestone building. However, the town is going to spend about $8 million to buy back 13 acres from Benderson and create a project increment finance district. They're buying it for more than $525,000 an acre and plan to sell it at $625,000 an acre and control the development through RFPs. The costs for infrastructure in the district will be covered by new properties coming onto the tax roll, and according to officials, shouldn't cost the town anything over the course of 20 years. Incoming Supervisor Sean Lavin is not concerned about that.
The tax base alone will expand significantly once this is online. So if we're going to have to invest a little money into this to get this over the finish line, we're going to recoup those expenses twofold.
There was little pushback Monday night on this topic, at least, during the town board meeting, and the board passed the resolution to move forward unanimously.
We are steadfast in our approach in making this the best community possible. I think we've shown that through some of the projects we've done thus far, and we're going to stay on that track.
You've got this project and a possible NFTA expansion. While I know the town of Amherst doesn't have a direct say in that necessarily, it's going through your town. Yeah. How do you juggle the two? Any concerns for that light rail expansion?
No concerns from my perspective, but then again, I'm not at the NFTA. I'm strictly focused on the mall. That's what I can control, and that's where my focus will be.
Looking ahead timeline-wise, when can we expect, hopefully, I know demolition's early 26, but yeah. Then when do new buildings go up?
Well, demolition's got to get done first. We've got the infrastructure already built in with the West Side Interceptors, so that can allow for more development in that area. I can't give you a hard date, but I would love to see the beginning of 27.
Coming up on the agenda, we take a trip down memory lane when I reported from the airport ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday 2 years ago. I assure you it's a quality news report, but first a look at the weekend traffic. Today you will attempt something bold, like reorganizing your entire life or lifting a couch alone. You will succeed at neither. A mysterious email labeled "Per my last request" will ruin your confidence at 2:14 p.m. All right, let's wrap up the show this week with a little bit of fun and dip into the archive. 2 years ago, I was assigned a story at the Buffalo Niagara Airport. You've seen this story 100 times, they're all the same, so I did the Nate Benson thing and, well, take a look for yourself and remember this is 2 years old, so it's not indicative of current conditions at the airport. Hit it, Devin.
And holiday travel, of course, is top of mind for an awful lot of people here in Western New York.
Our team coverage continues now with 2 on Your Side's Nate Benson, who is live at the airport with concerns that some travelers might have. Hi there, Nate.
Yeah, hey there, Scott and Mary Alice. As 2 on Your Side's junior travel correspondent, I went to the airport earlier today to try to get a sense of how travelers were feeling with some weary weather on the way. But when I got to the airport, it was quiet. Looking for anybody to talk to, anybody at all. And in classic Nate Benson fashion, it took me some time to find people. Thought it would be a little bit busier. So I worked on the promo for this story. Coming up on Channel 2 News tonight, holiday travelers, they might be coming. And while I thought it was clear that I wanted people to talk, you don't think people are going to walk by and not see the sign. I took the time to greet the crew. Captain. Eventually, enough people arrived at the airport so I can show you close-ups of rolling bags, bustling ticket counters, and baggage claim. Joe, a student at Fredonia, was flying to Long Island. You worried about the weather?
Not really.
There's not really much weather right now, is there?
Nah.
A little bit of rain?
Yeah, just that's it.
I think we can fly in the rain.
Yeah.
Got a spare seat?
Spare seat? No.
6-year-old Maddie from South Carolina kept her eye on the forecast too. Was the forecast scary or was it okay?
When we were flying, I could see a lot of clouds.
Yeah, a lot of clouds. A little rain when you landed here?
Yep.
Now they're calling for some snow, and I know you're from South Carolina. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Exciting?
Yeah.
55 million people will be traveling for the Thanksgiving holiday, the third busiest since 2005, according to AAA. For Maddie's dad, the forecast didn't matter.
If Grandma says come up north, you go up north.
Absolutely. Also coming up north is my new best friend from Texas, Claudia Anderson. You got the turkey in the trunk?
No.
No?
I have Texas beef in the trunk.
You got which one?
A lot.
I was so enamored with her 3 suitcases full of beef, I almost forgot to ask her if the forecast was a worry.
As long as it doesn't rain when I have to leave.
No worries for mother and daughter duo Courtney and Morgan. They're Fort Lauderdale bound for a softball tournament. With the uncertainty of next week's forecast, you might just stay in Fort Lauderdale?
Maybe. I think that's a good idea. We got to talk to the hubby about that.
There you go. Just extend that stay.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
It's good to have a little fun every once in a while. AAA says that 88% of those traveling for the Thanksgiving holiday will actually be driving, so make sure your tires are properly inflated and you have that snow kit in the trunk just in case. Live and on your side at the airport, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News. Once again, we are delighted to bring you the wonderful world of my inbox with another edition of Letters to Nate. Both letters this week are somewhat related to the Buffalo Bills. The first letter reads, Dear Nate, would you rather park a mile from the stadium, lug your gear, cover the Bills fans' reactions, or report live in the rain? Ooh, I love this story. All right. I hate nothing more in my life than reporting, recording, doing anything in the rain. I hate working in the rain. I will do anything to get out of working in the rain. Why? Because you're wet all day long. You're just wet. Your shoes are wet. Your pants are wet. You're just wet. Everything is wet. The second thing I don't love, and I won't say I hate it, but I don't love it, is doing Bills fans' reaction stories. I love Bills fans. I love the Bills. I don't love doing Bills fans' reaction stories. Because, you know, you never know what you're going to get. Are you going to get the cute kid who says the cool thing that's going to go viral? Or are you going to get the drunkest fan ever and it's going to ruin your story? It's a crapshoot. So what do I prefer, one or the other? I think I would work in the rain. I would work in the rain. That's I guess yeah, I'd have to work in the rain. I'm sorry. I love Bills fans, but I'd rather work in the rain. Our second question tonight, as a Bills fan, what words should not be on my t-shirt or sign in order to make it in one of your stories? Well, as I just said, apparently I'm never going to do a Bills fan story again, but this is a very good question because during the Pittsburgh game last few years ago when we clinched the playoff spot, I nearly got into a brawl with a fan because they ruined my beautifully crafted shot with a curse word on their t-shirt, and I was very upset about that. There's a lot of words you should not have on your t-shirt or sign when a TV crew approaches you. Here are some of them now. You have your classics like tots, shirt, pass, funk, cork, motherfucker, and again, tots. You also have shoot, batch, cusp, jabber, mother, shucks, foot, blasted, darn it. Definitely don't say corker, fest, shift, masset, or phalange. Was that helpful? Remember, you can send me an email, nathan.benson@wgrz.com, or hit me up on Instagram @NateBensonReports. Next week on the agenda, I'll be doing some improvisational comedy or some stories about budgets inside City Hall. Maybe I'll do a broadband story. I haven't done one of those in a while. Maybe I'll do a bridge and roads report. I really haven't decided. Thanks again for watching. Remember, the news never stops on WGRZ.com. I'm Nate Benson. We'll see you at the next one. No coffee this week. Can't enjoy that. You have your classics like tots, shirt, pass, funk, count, cork, sander, mother, father, and again, tots. You also have fudge, shoot, dang, batch, cusp, mucker, jabber, mother, shook, shucks, foet, blasted, darn it. Definitely don't say corker, just nuts, muddle crumb, fest this shift, masset, tisk, or phalange. Funk, count, cork, sucker. This is so stupid. You've also got fudge. This bit's gonna be the end of me. All right.